Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. How's it going out there? I'll just give me a second while I announce this on Twitter. Boom. All right, we're done there. Just give me a second, get back to where I was. All right. I've been having a short conversation with Will Duffy, the final experiment organizer, pointing out that no one has ever actually measured any curvature on the Earth. So why believe that curvature exists if it was never measured in the first place? So he came back with the usual question: how would you measure curvature? What would satisfy your demand? So I thought we could just present a couple of ideas here. But first of all, I just want to check that everything's working okay. Are we broadcasting? Ah, hello InRem. Okay, V. Thomas, hello, challenge the argument, be compassionate. Can you hear me okay, and can you see everything okay? Can you just give me a thumbs up or something? And welcome, thank you for coming along. Very impromptu setup here. Good morning, Stash Man. All right. Okay, well, it looks like we're rocking and rolling. Okay. Richard Archer, hello. Yeah, I just put these together, okay? The final measurement, okay? Just two very basic ideas. And obviously we are dealing with people that should be intelligent enough to fill in the blanks and work things out for themselves. I would be totally up for participating, and I'm sure many flat earthers would be up for participating in experiments that are truly scientific and start off with a fundamental understanding of the difference between measurements and calculations, right? We all understand that you can define level as being at a distance from the center of an imaginary spherical Earth. We all understand that you can assume that gravity makes a curved surface appear level. Yeah. So that's all just mental gymnastics. That's all imagining stuff. You're just telling us to assume a model to start with, and define level as curved. Whereas if you're going to be truly scientific, anyone would really, who's in this debate, would jump at the opportunity to actually establish the difference between these calculations and measurements. Yeah. First of all, you need to really discern between that. And if you're a flat earther, or you're a globe denier or whatever, then what's happened is you realize that the globe was constructed out of math magic, assuming a radius, making calculations, converting distances into degrees. Not because anyone ever discovered or measured any curvature in the first place. In fact, you'll have many globe Earth believers claim that it's impossible to measure curvature. They admit that. So it's correct to assume that there have never been any measurements. Yeah? So instead of my comment with Will started off by saying you could prove the flat Earth, the flat Earth or the globe Earth. You could make a measurement or do an experiment that would be a fraction of the cost of sending a whole bunch of people down to Antarctica. And the reason that so many so-called flat earthers haven't jumped at this opportunity is because it is a false dichotomy. It's not a proper scientific endeavor to set out and measure the difference between horizontal level and the assumed curved level. If there was an experiment that aimed to really do that, then I'm sure you would get people on board. But if you jump on board with this so-called final experiment, then you're accepting and adopting this false dichotomy that's been put forward of arguing about two different models and where the sun is supposed to set or not, depending on some maps that we've been given, and doesn't prove anything about the true dimensions or the assumed curvature that causes this effect of the sun setting. The sun setting is not a proof of what the Earth is doing or the shape of the Earth. The proof of the shape of the Earth is demonstrating that there is a measure of curvature. That is it. That is the final experiment that anyone should be doing. Yeah. So yeah, you're right, Andrew. There's nothing final about this experiment. It's been pointed out before. Yeah. All it is a distraction. It's an attempt to keep alive this idea that there's proof in looking at the sun and the sky to what the shape of the Earth is. Yeah. Which is, of course, how the whole heliocentric model has come about. And again, if you're a flat earther, you will have realised this, that everything is based on a whole bunch of assumptions and interpreting things. We see and experience and we measure and we navigate across a level Earth. Nothing changes. Yeah. So it's not stupid to get on a plane with a spirit level, for example, and say, well, I observe no change. So nothing changed. There's a prediction. The model has a prediction of the drop or the curvature that we should experience across a certain distance. Whether you're talking in terms of a drop or degrees, there should be a measurable gap or difference between horizontal level and the curve. That's one thing. Yeah, over that certain distance, whatever it is, that's all established in the model. So what you need to do is to see if reality matches the predictions. That's the reality of the Earth's surface being curved or not. Yeah? So, yeah, we all know, true, in REM, we all know that the sun and all that is all down to perspective, and of course, so it's perspective, the way that we see things go off into the distance and appear to go closer to the horizon, whether they're coming up or going down, the whole train track thing. We know that this is an interpretation of observation of flatness and level. Yeah? So, let's just get right into it. Just a couple of simple ideas. I've actually, so, you know, this came up. I'm doing this because Will Duffy said, well, you've claimed, he said, you haven't answered my question. You've claimed that we can measure curvature or whatever for a fraction of the cost of doing this experiment. So here's some really cheap and easy ways you can do it for less than the price of one ticket to fly people to Antarctica. Yeah. So a short distance and a long distance, two different bits of equipment would be required. Yeah. So short distance, let's take 10 or 20 miles of water, an open body of water. Okay. Yeah. And you with my illustration here, you might be able to work out that I've got a boat. It's a side view of a boat going off, and we've got a drone up here. So there's a person on the boat controlling the drone. Yeah. And we've got this. If we have a distance of 10 miles, we should have a drop of curvature from the horizontal level, drop down of 70 feet. If it's 20 miles, it's 266 feet. Okay. So, you know, in this sense, all you need is a boat, maybe some other observers, someone with a drone, okay, and access to the drone's data. By the way, shout out to Brian's Logic, who got flight data, and as we all know, the flight data will show you that flying by air is level. Nothing changes. Yeah. There's nothing indicating that aircraft are going around a curve. And doesn't mean you're stupid because you cannot imagine it. We can all imagine it. We can all understand the model, but can you prove the model in reality? That's the thing. Yeah. So in reality, we get a boat on a real lake or the sea, along the coastline maybe, okay? And the person has a drone on the boat, and of course, so the drone, you would fly it along as you travelled with the boat. Now the boat's going along, and for all intents and purposes, we understand that it's level. Our distance is from the start point to the finish point. It's across a level body of water. If it were curved, then there would be a measurable difference. So you're keeping this drone at, maybe you're keeping it at a certain height that matches with the boat. So you're keeping it an equal distance above the surface of the water, and you're keeping it in line with the boat, okay? So this way you know that you're going level, as it were, and at the same time you can read the instruments. This can be done. Drone pilots know this. Yeah. You can access the data of the data that's in the drone. Sure, it will tell you all sorts of things, but you could probably isolate whether there's anything to tell you that the horizontal that the drone was in to start with has changed in any way whatsoever, or whatever, or have you gone in a straight line? There are many things that you can look at and maybe control in these variables, right? Yeah. So get the drone going straight. If there are people out there claiming to be ace pilots, then they should be able to fly their plane straight. And we know that if you do fly a plane straight, then it will the artificial horizon will remain level. Nevertheless, it's a way to see if there's any change, yeah, in what should be a difference of 70 feet or 266 feet, depending on the distance you go. And this just allows you to keep things in line. Beyond belief, fuck off. We're talking about something else, all right? All right, so the long distance one, okay? In this instance, we would use an aircraft and a gyro, maybe, yeah? Because of the distance, you need a greater distance to change to see any difference in the number of degrees, yeah? So we know that 60 nautical miles is 1 degree of curvature. 1,000 nautical miles is 16.6 degrees of curvature. 3,000 nautical miles would show a difference of 50 degrees. So that's more than 45 degrees. Yeah? Okay, so a gyro can be set up in an aircraft that's going to travel a distance of 1,000 to 3,000 miles, which isn't that far. Yeah? Really, in terms of flights. You know, it's common to do 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles, nautical miles if you like, yeah? And because of the physics of gyros, their rigidity in space, then we should have a gyro that maintains its rigidity in space. It maintains level, yeah? Now again, you might need some way to power this. Surely not too difficult. Surely not too difficult. If you're going to spend money on doing a measurement to demonstrate a difference between horizontal level and curved level, it should be easy to set up. Yeah? All right? So you can see here that if you went that far around the alleged globe, your gyro in relation to the floor wouldn't be 90 degrees anymore, so you'd start it off plumb, and as you went round the curve, then you would have a right angle to start with, but then you'd have an obtuse angle later on. Yeah? Okay, so again, the model for the globe is there. It tells us, yeah, you should see over 3,000 nautical miles a difference between level and plumb of 50 degrees. The gyro should have changed 50 degrees. And no use making excuses about pendulous vanes and things like that, and gravity. The point is that if nothing changes, no measurement can be made. There is no measure of curvature to be made. Yeah? So, then what? we just have to imagine, we just have to believe. Yeah. The pendulous vanes argument is just ridiculous, because basically a gyro that's contained, I mean, you can have an open gyro, a contained gyro, doesn't matter, whatever you like, okay? The whole point of pendulous vanes is because a gyro that's in a box that's being fed by a vacuum is going to get jigged about and things like that, and precession as well is going to have some effect. So the pendulous vanes just keep it kind of, you know, realign it, help it realign. Because otherwise if it's stuck in a box and you've got this vacuum blowing through it, there's no flow, really. They need the pendulous vanes. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that the gyro is following some imaginary curve. Yeah? Alright? It's just a couple of ideas. So, you know, I suggested to Will Duffy that he ask his audience. There are people in the group of globers that could use their equipment that they have, their knowledge, their expertise, their ability to actually measure things, instead of using mental gymnastics to just twist the meaning of things or point the finger at flat earth and say, oh, you're stupid, you can't imagine it. Yeah? Or just stick to talking about models, false dichotomies. Just get out there and measure it. Yeah? Now let's just have a quick look through the chat, see if we've got any comments there. V. Thomas, why haven't we been down there? We're still in Wim Hof cold training. Yeah. Mad Chick Acres. A 3/4 mile long logistics centre concrete is either flat or level on a ball. It can't be both unless it's flat. Hello Boomy, hello Al. Lev Kung Fu, hello there. Alright. V. Thomas, we haven't been, some of us are scared of catching some ancient virus in the ice. The bubonic plague, yeah. All right, beyond belief. I'm not interested in arguing you about stationary and all that stuff. You guys need to take a chill pill. All right. Fighter jets, study and create. Fighter jets, 100 feet above the water at Mach. Anything should be easy proof. Yeah. Again, we know this is it. We know that in everyday reality, whether it's navigation, whether it's flying, building, construction, anything, everything, we know that the reality is that the Earth measures level, horizontally so. And the globers know this too. They know that it's impossible to measure curvature. Yeah? So what this really comes down to is we know what the results will be. We know what will happen. We know that it gets measured level. But what you have to do is just switch into this different conceptual mode. Yeah, they're always arguing about models. They're not arguing about reality. So this is why we know it's a religion, it's a belief. Yeah. Yeah, a physical structure over water would be good as well. Yeah. You know, you've got that horizontal. It's simply the difference, measuring the difference between horizontal, level, and curved, isn't it? Really. But of course, you can't even establish that with someone defending their belief in the globe. They won't go there. They'll just tell you you've got to imagine it. Yeah. Magic Acres. I try to keep my discussion to smaller measurements because most normies can't fathom large distances. That's kind of an argument that's used against the flat earther, isn't it, as well? You know, oh, it looks flat, so it must be. But it measures flat, as we've said. Yeah. Okay. Glenn Souch. We already have bridges, and their angles are measured from 90 degrees vertical, and absolutely, yeah. And of course, you know, people will claim that the plumb of two bridge posts are pointing towards the center of an Earth, but of course that's again just something that you can, with a preconceived model, that's something you can calculate. You can say, oh, the two posts are a certain distance apart, so that makes them 1 3/4 inches further apart at the top. Well, yeah, you can't measure that anyway. It's not something that was done. those whatever thing is built is put in plumb. And sure, you can draw your plans and things like that and say, oh, well, those are actually pointing towards the center of my imaginary Earth. It's all just calculations. Again, no measurement is done to make sure that the tops of the posts are further apart than the bottoms, are they? It's not done like that. They are put in plumb. Or whatever, even if they, I don't know, maybe in an engineering sense, maybe they need to be apart a little bit more just to give it some more strength. I don't know. Yeah, but any assumptions of curvature never, ever, ever comes into engineering. Yeah, nor surveying. People say, "Oh, surveying, geodetic surveying proves the globe." No, it doesn't. Geodetic surveying is just assuming that the distances that you measure are have some curvature. And sure. So what you see in front of you is then represented in this side-on view, assuming that you've got your angles to the centre of an Earth. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's very simple, and of course you could do other things. I mean, if you're going to measure, if you're going to, it could be done. It could be done. Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way. If Will really had the will to seek the truth and put it to the test, then he would organise something like this. Yeah. So, but at fair shout, at least Will has been conversing with me. But it's still the same old thing. It's just entrapment. Yeah. It's really, so what you can see what's happened already is there's been this, this effort to entrap the flat earthers in this group and say, this is what you believe and this is what you have to prove. All based on their own assumptions and false dichotomies. Yeah. And again, that's what we said. We know it's just a distraction. Yeah. Magic Acres. My dad used to tell me that the Twin Towers were not parallel due to curvature. If you were alive today, it would be. Yeah, of course they would tell you that, wouldn't they? And it's like, yeah, it's just one of those things, one of those little factoids that you could, you could work it out to the millimetre, right? How far apart they were supposed to be. Could you ever measure it? No, you couldn't. Yeah. Left Kung Fu, Shaolin, Aries failure, yes. Gyro's failure. The globe faith is founded on failures. Very true. Yeah, and Pablo's dog then moved the goalposts. I'm not sure. This is I don't know if you're referring to whoever, whatever circled side. Hello, Steve. Good to see you, man. Yeah. Where was it? The goalpost. Yeah, the whole thing about moving the goalposts. Again, if you come up with this, that to someone that's supporting this experiment, this observation to go and see the sun in Antarctica, if you tell them, well, they should be measuring curvature, they'll come back with, oh, you're moving the goalposts. It's like, no, the goal has always been, let's measure curvature, after working out that everything we were told is just an illusion and a bunch of math magic, right? Yeah. So that's always the goal. That's always been the goal. Measure curvature. Yeah. And it's funny, but they come back with you and say, well, how would you do it? Well, this is the thing is, the first question should be, how come I'm believing in something that is being passed off as science, but no science was ever done? Yeah, and this is why Flat Earth is a great way of helping humanity understand the big bamboozle. Yeah. Because it's just a matter of using discernment. Yeah. If you were really doing that, if you were a truth seeker, and there are no truth seekers who are defending their belief in the globe, but if you were a truth seeker, you'd just be advocating proper scientific discovery, measurements, yeah? You wouldn't be making excuses, you wouldn't be, this is it, and that's the big thing, isn't it? We realise that the globe is a belief, and it's this cultish, because you see the cult behavior. When you see people insisting that you must first assume something and maybe take yourself out of the reference frame, and then, all these things told to us to imagine and put our minds somewhere other than reality. Glenn Souch and Lev Kung Fu. Okay, yeah, talking about the hurricanes. Yeah, I hope everyone's safe there. Seems pretty mad. Yeah, it's obviously a big thing there. Yeah. And that's another thing, all these so-called globe proofs, and people talk about hurricanes twisting in certain directions either side, or the weather going in certain directions either side of the equator. Well, you can just understand that simply on a flat Earth scenario, where you've got a sun that is doing its orbits, its circles above the Earth, it's local, and it has its path, and then in the wake of its path, just like I'm not sure what it's called, but the vortex that's created by aircraft wings, for example, when you see them, you've got one vortex going off one way and another one underneath going the other way. So you can just think about the sun doing that. All these phenomena that we see and experience on the Earth there are a multitude of explanations, and there's not always one explanation for it. It can be a multitude of factors, right? But nothing that ever suggests, there's nothing about reality that suggests to us that the Earth is curved. Nothing whatsoever. It's all been put in the mind. So I think, my original point was just asking those questions. If you were a truth seeker, if you were a real truth seeker, then you would be seeking to use and hone your own discernment, and differentiating between the very simple difference of a measurement and a calculation. It's just two different things. There's tangible physical measurements and calculations. You can draw a circle on the board and give it a diameter and imagine a radius until I get something that approximates the distances to which the extent of the Earth we know. It's easy enough to do. That's the difference. And the same with degrees. Degrees are just calculated, starting from a level Earth. Yeah? Wow, Glenn, you had 7 tornadoes in your area. Wow, okay. Oh my goodness, several lives taken. Oh dear. Oh man, that's terrible. Wow, that's unprecedented, isn't it? But you're okay, obviously. You got your internet, so yeah, that's sad to hear. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm going to do is leave it at that, because I could go off on all sorts of other stuff, but that's something you reminded me of to talk about, actually. So unless anyone wants to add anything to this, it's just a couple of simple ideas. Use the data, the pitch data. Again, shout out to Brian's Logic. Go and check out a few of his latest videos about capturing flight data. Okay, you're not even in the impact zone, Ben. All right. Wow. Okay, but you've had severe weather. Oh man. Well, I'm glad you're okay. All right then. I'm going to leave it there. And just thanks for catching up and coming in, and feel free to share other ideas. And why not see if we can get people together to do something like this. Has someone got a drone? Has someone got a boat? Has someone got 10 to 20 miles of water? Okay. Anyway, take it easy. Have a good one. We'll speak very soon. Okay? Cheers.